Hello everyone, welcome back to Lyn Farmstead. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing, like the video, comment, and share if you feel it's informational enough. Today, we want to talk about something that I wish as an apple farmer I knew earlier, but I'm learning on the way. And today, I want to walk you through the hidden costs of apple farming in Kenya. I'm currently farming Wambugu apples. I have like 100 trees in my garden, and I've really come to realize that I have lots and lots of unseen costs that are coming up that I wish I knew earlier. And so I want to share this information with you so that if you're just beginning out or you're new into this venture, you're not surprised as I was, as I am still getting surprised along the way. So initially, the idea is that you get your land, either you have it or you buy it, and then you buy the seedlings. You get your manure that you apply like 3 times or 4 times a year, and then you water and prune. And so when you're starting out, those are the most essential costs. That was the case I heard about. But I'm going to walk you through some of the hidden costs that I've come to realize that accompany fruit farming in Kenya, especially the Wambugu apple variety, which is my experience, so that you're not as unprepared as I was. If you're new here and you find this informational, please subscribe so that we grow together. Like the video to let the algorithm know that you found it informational, and spread it to other viewers. And you can also share to people that you think will find it informational. So let's dive in. So hidden cost number one. And this came as a surprise for me because I went into the venture very excited with the idea that apples grow anywhere in the world. In Kenya, the Wambugu apple variety grows anywhere in Kenya and even in Africa. So I was just convinced from the information that it could do well in my area. But really, the first stop once you get the land and you have the idea that you want to go with apples is to do a soil test. This is something that most of us skip, and it's really essential. I agree. And apples are extremely sensitive to soil pH, nutrient balance, and soil structure. So you want to do a basic soil test, which could include a pH test and a full nutrient profile. And for this, of course, you need to have the experts come into your land and perform this soil test. So that will also call for consultation fee from the agronomist, who's going to now advise you about land preparation, because they're going to advise you about what nutrients are there in excess, what nutrients you need to add, and how you're going to prepare your land before starting the venture. Now, after conducting your soil test, then you'll also incur correction costs, and this could be like lime for acidic soils to balance the pH, or gypsum for compacted soils, or additional compost for poor soils. So essentially, you just want to maximize the quality of your soil even before planting a single tree. Don't be like me. Start from the right foot. And the second hidden cost is land preparation. Digging of holes, clearing land, and adding manure to prepare your land and get it ready for planting. And when people say dig holes, add manure, and plant, the truth is you'll not be doing this alone. You'll need labor to clear the bushes or remove old crops, and then you'll hire labor for hole digging, because if you want to dig the usual size of hole, you're not going to do this alone. And then you'll need machinery if the land is rocky or you need to clear something from the land, transporting manure. Besides the cost of buying your manure, you'll also need to incur another cost of transporting the manure to your garden or your farm, and then making out proper spacing. Especially if you're going into this with a lot of trees, you want to get the orchard design ready from the onset. And you'll also have to buy some of these tools that you're going to use, because you might not be having all of them. Now, number 3, which is a big hidden cost for me, is the cost of training and pruning the trees. And you need to get this in your budget from the onset. You need pruning shears, you might need twines and gloves. Of course, you know that with wear and tear, you might also have to keep replacing some of these tools. For training, you might also need sisal strings that you're going to use, maybe pegs, maybe whatever your desired. Even you can use toothpicks, but this is a hidden cost that will come along. Let's just call it a miscellaneous cost. Now, you'll all bear me witness, if you've been here for long enough, that I overlooked totally the cost of pollination management. Totally. So if you're going for your trees, you need you want to do like an acre, and you've been given like the estimate of about 600 trees per acre. We're using this as an example. Then you need to also know that besides the 600 per acre, you need to do different varieties at a different ratio, maybe 1 to 6, where you have your main variety that you desire, say Wambugu apples, and then you go in with pollinators, so that you diversify and have trees that are going to flower and fruit at the same time, so that they can help each other cross pollinate. So the initial cost might not change a lot. It might even come a little bit lower because some of these pollinators are a bit cheaper. So if you are going for 600 Wambugu apples, you can limit that to like 500 or 400 or 450 there, and then you do other varieties, maybe 1 or 2, like golden doset and let's say, I don't know if I can say Anna in this case, maybe Pink Lady or other pollinators of your choice. Or you can even do another variety that will give you like a good flow of fruits throughout the year, because they give fruits at different times of the year. So for that, you'll need different varieties. But again, the biggest cost that we do not like look into, and then it's like an unspoken and unwritten rule. It's expected for you to have pollinators in terms of bees on the farm, but nobody actually talks about it. Or I've not come across most people talking about it as some of the initial costs that you need. Because if you're expecting to have flowers in the first 9 months, then within these first 9 months, you should be able to have in your farm a beehive. Tell me why I overlooked this cost completely and just came to know about it when my apples were already flowering and fruiting in the botting, and I came to realize I did not attract bees to my farm. If you have a big farm, then this is going to cost you a lot. So it's better to have strategic beehives, research to know the number of beehives you need in your farm, and strategic points where you can install them, so that you have bees already in the farm for when the flowering starts to happen. You might also know that the quality of pollination is going to affect the size, the shape, and the quality of your fruit. So this is not a negotiable expenditure. You just need to have a beehive in your farm. I'm yet to go to get into this. This is going to be my first time ever having a beehive. So I have a lot of learning to do, but I'm looking forward to that. Alternatively, if you don't have a lot of trees, you might even look into renting beehives if that is something that can work for you. If you have beehives in your area, you can look into leasing some of them for the period when you're going to have your flowers coming along, so that when pollination is done, you can take them back to the owner. But I feel like the best way to go about it is to have the bees installed in your farm, because you know what? The honey becomes yours, honey. Now, just know that I'm speaking from my experience. Maybe in your feasibility test, you came across these costs, but for me, I did not anticipate the pests and diseases associated with Wambugu apples, because I was told that they're disease resistant, and for the few months I had them on my farm, the first few months, I didn't notice any. Come to think of it, I didn't even know how to recognize some of these, apart from the usual aphids that were not there. Powdery mildew, I didn't see them. But when the fruiting and flowering started, I saw a lot of activity suddenly coming up. And that's when I realized that I needed to have invested in some pest and disease management, so like an integrated form of pest control. Now, another hidden cost is in terms of labor and time. You're going to have people in the farm throughout like 24/7 in a way. Either you have workers pruning or thinning or training or weeding, but you're also going to do a lot of scouting, because you might not like the surprise of getting pests infestation in your garden, so you want to be scouting your garden very often. If you cannot do this yourself, then you need to have a farmhand that you trust and that is knowledgeable to keep going through and monitoring the trees, and also pruning and training on a regular, and also watering, spraying, and harvesting. So this is not something you're going to do from a distance. It's something you need to have time as a cost implication, so that either you're going to pay for it or you're going to do it yourself. If you cannot do it yourself, then have someone do it. Once again, I insist, purely from my finding, the manure, water, and weed simplistic form is not cutting it. So another hidden cost, which is a big one actually, is the nutrient management over time. You're not going to give these trees manure forever and expect to have quality productivity. Of course, you can go organic, but you need to understand what are you feeding the trees. You have yearly top dressing, you have micronutrient sprays, calcium for fruit quality, boron for flowering, mulching costs, composting tools. All these are going to help you to feed the tree what it needs. And I don't know how you can control your manure to make sure that it's giving the plant what it needs exactly at what time, but I feel like you'll still have to invest in foliars that are going to give your plant specific micronutrients and also macronutrients, and that's going to be on a continual base. So that's a cost that you need to also have in mind: fertilizer bags, foliar sprays, soil amendment costs, and also compost. Of course, you're not going to get rid of the compost, but you need to understand a nutrient management schedule that you can follow throughout for specific durations, so that you maximize on what the plant needs at a given time. Another hidden cost number 9, or is it 8? I lost count. But another hidden cost is the harvesting, packaging, and marketing. Now, I don't know when to start marketing. Are you going to start immediately after you plant the first tree? Are you going to wait for the first flowers? Are you going to wait for the first batch of fruits? I don't know if you're going to start marketing. This is me starting to market mine now. Because at some point I believe I'm going to have lots of fruits in this garden, but the harvesting cost will involve things such as crates and baskets and transport, sorting and grading labor. You'll incur also losses during transport, so there's maybe damage, you want to minimize that, marketing fees, and time spent in actually selling your product. You might harvest like 300 kg only for you to sell 200 because of the post harvest cost that is incurred. So it's good for you to be prepared initially, so that, of course, the thing is, I'm a kawaida mwananchi, just an ordinary person, and I do not have or liquid cash at hand at all times. And for most of these hidden costs, like the beehive one, for me, it came at a point when I was not in a position to actually acquire one financially, and that's going to mean a whole season of loss in productivity. But if you have all these costs in mind, then you're already prepared, and you prepare for it from the onset, and you are not going to get surprised along the way. This does not mean that you're not going to have fruit drop and losses and flower abortion or something, but you're going to minimize and manage your farm better, and you're going to eliminate most of the things that are going to make your productivity low, like water stress, poor pollination, nutrient imbalance, pests and diseases, and also weather changes. And I know that this is not exhaustive. We have things like bird nets, we have things like these nets that you use to cover the fruits when they to prevent birds. A lot goes into farming your apples until you get to the commercial level. So this is not a complete list of hidden costs for real, and I invite you in the comment section to also highlight some of the costs that have not uh, highlighted, so that we can all not really get scared, but understand the reality of fruit farming in Kenya, especially farming apples, and in my case Wambugu apples. If you're planning to start an orchard, I hope this video helps you to go in with your open eyes. I do not mean to scare you, to prevent you from starting or joining in apple farmers in Kenya, because it's a growing community. You're welcome to join, but plan well, budget realistically, and take it a step at a time. If you found this video helpful, please do like it, subscribe, share a comment down below. Let's know what you think about it, and also share it to someone who's dreaming of apple farming or even any type of fruit farming, to start them off on the right foot. I hope to see you in the next video, which will be about establishing a nutritional program for Wambugu apples or apple farming in Kenya and in the tropics. And I hope we're going to do it together as a community so that we grow together. See you in the next one.